What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another SLA video. That's right, guys, we have WOBL hard mode that is currently going on and is next to impossible. Actually, it is impossible for most free-to-play players. When I say most, probably all free-to-play players to complete, but we have completed it on the pay-to-win account, and I want to go over the entire guide to help those pay-to-win players who have enough TP and the proper units to set this up. Now, just a fair warning here, I did complete it with Legia and the fire team on the hunter side, and I did complete it, of course, with SJW and the win side, and we're gonna go over all the builds, everything I've done, including each of the fights. So get ready for this. Now, before I continue on with this video, I want to remind folks the content creator program is going on. New season, new codes. One code already has been submitted, so it should be coming your way for anyone who's supporting. And if you're not supporting, hit that support button, guys. It's absolutely free. It's pinned in every single comment section and also in every single description of every single video. 5 or 6 codes coming your way this season, guys. It is absolutely free to join, so don't forget to do that to support your boy, and I will definitely send you guys some codes as well all season long. Now, when it comes down to WOBL, we're gonna do full breakdowns, gears, teams, etc., and some rotations to help you guys out, and then we're gonna show you guys what we did in terms of gameplay to complete these modes. We're gonna start with the first boss, of course, with Legia and the team. Then we're gonna go to the second and third, and then lastly the hunter phase. I had to do this in 2 separate videos, unfortunately, because we had 2 separate live streams. I was up until 5 in the morning. The first boss is probably the toughest boss I did, but at the end of the day, we still got it done. Top 1000 was completed. All right, without further ado, guys, let's get into the video. All right, guys, so before we start the video, let's go over the team and the build. So first off, we have Gina, then we have Christopher Reed, then we have Legia. Now, just so everyone is aware, all weapons are level 130, and in terms of the actual team that I used for shadows, it was Igris, it was Bestie, and Serbi, and I'm going to explain to you why this team specifically. So one thing to note is that Legia specifically has the poison set. Okay, the poison set is a must for this. The Surtur set does not work well here. The poison set is what you use for any solo leveling content like this. Team modes, you use Surtur set. For any solo gameplay like this, you use the poison set. So the poison set is there. Christopher Reed, of course, is using the commish set, and Gina is using the noble set, which is built for supports and, of course, these stackers. Now, you guys can see each level is 130 for their weapon, so definitely advance that. You're going to need it. And you can see my TP is at 8.259, 157, which is going to give me the power I need to do this battle at 8.2. And a must-have for this is Myro maxed out. You guys can see my Myro is 1.335 million power, so you're going to need to have her maxed out in order to even stand a chance here, guys. Without her, it's almost next to impossible to do. So she's not going to be used at all in the fight. She's only there for the TP purposes. Now, in terms of shadows, I have Igris as my main, Bestie, and then I have Serbi. So here's the reason why we use Igris in this fight. This fight requires roughly about 25k crit for some reason. The boss has insane crit resistance, so we are using a high level crit in order to get the job done, and Legia is in fact using 50% defense pen at 52,000 defense pen, 25% damage increase, 212% crit, and then we have crit damage at 200%, and his attack is at 93k. All right, just so you know, those are the numbers that we are working with in regards to what you need to get the job done. Now, I'm going to walk you guys through the whole fight, explain to you how this one works. All right, guys, there's a couple phases for this fight. So when the giant jumps and you see the red glare, make sure you counter. Don't use Gina very often, okay? You want to just get your buffs in and then you move out. Now, Christopher Reed, you guys see I did a QTE. I normally don't QTE with Christopher Reed. In this case, I did, probably an accident, and you want to make sure that the infusion skill pops off right away. And then with Legia, you again don't want to QTE in. You want to come in and instantly do your ult. So just as you press the button to tag him in, just make sure you get the ult in there as well too. You guys can see I did extend a little bit right there for Myro just to give myself a little more of the infusion and damage right there. But right here, the main thing to note is just follow the proper rotation. So it's skill 2 into the core, into skill 1, and then into his ultimate. Okay, so right here you guys can see we're going to cast ultimate, and this is where all of his damage is coming from, of course. And then from there, what you want to do is you want to maximize the amount of damage you have in infusion to do your burst. Do not skip your burst. They're super important in this fight. But you guys can see the first rotation, we got him down to 49%. Okay, maybe even less. So 43%. There you go. So really high damage for the first phase. There are 3 phases here. Okay, so first phase, he's gonna get to 0 or around 11%, and then he goes into his main phase, and that's pretty much rinse and repeat the fight. Okay, so the main thing to note here is you just want to push him as fast as you can to that phase, and then once he goes into immortal phase, the second phase will begin, and he now starts to hit like a Mack truck. The main thing to note is your shield will not protect you. If he does a running tackle into Liu, or he does a stomp and you're in the way, even with your shield, you will not survive the onslaught. You will get one shot. That's a lot of where my unfortunately attempts failed, is that happened to me. So here you can see I switched quickly to Gina, and as he's running towards me, I cast the ultimate so that the attack doesn't actually hurt me, and then I do my skills, and then right into Christopher Reed. I don't QTE, I just tag right in. I make sure I transform. The only one that can really take the hits is Christopher Reed because of his massive shield. You guys can see overload right into Liu, and here you guys can see I don't have my ult up, so make sure you do 2 skills to get the ult back going, and then right here you just pummel him as much as you possibly can. Same rotation, same setup, and you just continue rinsing and repeating. Now the main thing again to note is the fact that he will do a lot of attacks, and he does not stop moving. He is very mobile for a boss, and the main things he does is again the multiple stomps right there, and then he has 3 or 4 attacks where it's just sequence after sequence after sequence of hitting. Okay, and you will need to have your dodges available, so don't just dodge willy-nilly here. Actually understand the patterns of the attacks and watch out for the attacks that he does. QTEing here is important. If you are about to die, you can obviously iframe out of them. Right there's another attack there. The main attack you have to watch out for really is going to be that tackle where he runs into you. If he runs into you and you have the U on, again, you will, right there, that attack, you will die. Okay, so make sure you do this. And you guys can see we're doing pretty decent damage here, and the main thing to note is at about 25%, he goes into another phase where you need to actually do elemental accumulation on him. So any type of overloading attack will break the bar that he has. But before you do that, do not let Liu leave. Let him do as much damage as possible, because it only takes like 1 hit from Christopher Reed to make that happen. You guys can see also on the left side he's got a bar. That bar on the left where our faces and his faces, if that reaches all the way blue on our end, you get an extra overload. So try to get that bar completed by doing as much damage as you possibly can during the overload phase, and you guys will get an extra overload phase during that time. Hopefully yours resets halfway through. Mine actually reset right in the beginning, kind of ruining the overload a little bit, but if it does reset middle of the way, you get an extra whole bar of overload, which means you can do way more burst damage and way more damage in general. I will say this, the boss has a ton of HP, so you're gonna need a lot of defense pen as well because of the defense that he has, plus a lot of crit in order to do your crits. Okay, so you guys can see it's just rinse and repeat the whole time, and it is an absolute DPS check, and again, it's just keeping Liu alive, making sure that he doesn't die, and then using Gina just to do the buffs and getting her out as quick as possible. All right, so we're going through this. You guys can see we're completing it. Here's the next phase that I was referring to. He's gonna go into it right about, I'll show you where it's gonna happen shortly. Okay, I think we just finished it. Oh, there it is. Here's the next phase, right? You see, I got him at 11%, but here, I don't take Liu out right away. He's still got the overload going, so just do all of your attacks. So you got 3 seconds of this left, right? So don't screw this up, guys. Right there. See, after the overload was almost done, I took him out. I could have burst right there before doing it. I just didn't want to chance it, because if he does that skill, it gets it off, you will die. Liu will die because he does it. I think it like jumps up in the air, does like an elbow drop like Macho Man Randy Savage. So right here you guys can see we got 25 seconds left. Bring in another overload. Liu didn't have his ultimate up here, which was kind of scary, but here we got his ultimate back. Cast it, and then from here we have 17 seconds to complete this, and so you guys can see we are now down to the wire. I just got to do one more ultimate. He jumped all the way to the back with my shadows, but we completed it here, and the job was done with 11 seconds to spare. All right, so there you guys go. First boss completed. Not a difficult boss by any means in terms of like complexities. It's just, it requires a lot of patience and a lot of survivability. All right, so there you guys go. First boss done. Let's jump into the second boss. Alright guys, second boss, and this is probably going to be the same thing we do with Legia with a couple different changes, but you guys can see here are Sun Jinu's stats. This is a very important one because you're going to need quite a bit of it. So my stats were 120k attack. I know you guys can't see it there because my head's blocking it, also blocking from the other video, but you guys can see precision is at 89%. We have 50% crit at 19k. We have 50% defense pen at 52k, damage increase at 30%, and critical hit damage at 210. I am running the full poison poison set on him as well. The same set Liu had actually. They're just interchangeable, and I did put stats into strength right there. You guys can see 794 strength, and then we also have stats into agility at 160, just to give a little more crit and crit damage, and then perception is at 250 in order to hit that close to 90% mark for what we needed to get the job done. So this is going to be the setup here. We're going to talk about all the blessings that we use and everything else along with it, plus the team that we used as well too. All right, guys. So for the team that I used, we're going to be using Rieji, we're going to use Elena, and we're going to use Suyun. That's right. Suyun gives quite a bit of attack bonus, so we're going to use her, and especially because he's weak to wind, she's fantastic to use in this phase. Plus, we're going to use Greed, the new Greed. That's right, which gives you more wind attack plus a bonus crit and crit damage bonus when he does his skills. We're going to use Bestie, and we're going to use Serbi here, and of course, Myro still remains where she is. In terms of weapons, we have A10 Gil, and we have A10 Soma and Ashura. And then in terms of blessings, guys, and skills, we use high speed rotation for the skills, and the second skill, of course, is going to be the Phantom Strike with the overload skill for wind. And then if blessings or the QTEs, we're going to use the one that does attack down. You don't even need that one, to be honest with you, but we use it anyways. You could probably use the free. Actually, I think we use the freeze one in this one. I think maybe we use freeze QTE, and then we have, of course, Thunderstorm, which is going to be one of your biggest damage dealing moves. And then in terms of blessings, we have Sharp Perception. We have we don't use Bloodlust here. So we Sharp Perception. We use there we go. So this is the blessings that we're going to be using. We use Sharp Perception, Boss Slayer. We use Power Surge and Dagger. That's right. The Dagger technique now is fantastic. And in terms of the survivability ones here, we're going to use ourselves the shield with basic attacks. We use life, the increase of shields, and then we use this one here, which gives you shields with the skills that you use. So this is the setup for your blessings, guys, that you want to use for this fight. Okay, very important to make sure you use this one because it actually does help you keep your shield up. And with Power Surge, you're going to need to make sure that you have full-on abilities to continue using your shield bonuses, right? So you guys can see that's the full setup there, and then we're going to jump into this fight. I'm just going to walk you through it. It's pretty straightforward, and the reason why it's pretty straightforward is, again, it's just a DPS check for the most part, but the reason why we do this is because you want to make sure that you have full shields. Okay, so here's a couple things to note here. All right, I'm going to go back here for 2 seconds with this rotation. So the rotation is the main thing, right? So once you start off with the dodge, right? Or the shadows, and then you go shadow step behind him. You use Rieji right away, and the main good thing about this boss is he doesn't move very often, so Rieji will be able to cast his skills without missing pretty much 90% of the time, unless there's some sort of a weird adjustment that needs to be made. But in this boss's case, you have no problems. So you do your Gale attack, and then you do your Phantom Strike. You'll see right there. And then once the Phantom Strike hits and Rieji does his and you get 100%, the main thing to note is Phantom Strike re-pops again. So you want to cast it the second time right away. So that's your first, during infusion, the first thing you will do is cast your Phantom Strike over again. Just that way you'll have the double attack right there. Okay, and then you go into, which you can see I'm doing this incorrectly here. I'm doing the high speed rotation first. You don't want to do that. So the actual real proper rotation is you do Phantom Strike the second time when it pops up right away. Then you do Soma and Ashura until you get your core up, right? So you cast this, hold this down, you cast it, then you do your core attack, and then you'll get Thunderstorm. So Thunderstorm will pop up, and then you do high speed rotation back to Soma and Ashura, and then your ultimate before this ends. So my rotation was actually very off. You see, I did it the other way around instead. So you'll see right here, we do this, Thunderstorm, right? And then this is where I would have done high speed rotation, but I messed it up. I dodged there, get a shadow step in, and then right here I do Soma and Ashura, and you guys can see I didn't get a chance to cast my ultimate. So that's actually not the proper rotation. I kind of messed up here and still got away with this. So that's not the right way to do it. So just be very careful and mindful of that, okay? As you guys can see, I did it on the second rotation instead, which brought him to 88%. Now, this boss pretty much stands still. Keep your shields at max. Elena will keep your shields maxed out. The main thing to note here, you will have to do basic attacks pretty often, guys, because basic attacks will keep you from losing all your MP with Soma and Ashura because they're MP eating weapons. So you make sure you want to have these available to you at all times. So your basic attacks are going to play a pretty big part of this fight, and you want to keep your overload going non-stop. The main phases here is at 75%. He'll go over to the next phase, which is the meteor phase, which is one you want to get out of the way as soon as possible, because unfortunately unfortunately it does take the most amount of time. You guys can see we've done a lot of damage here in order to avoid that phase for a little bit, but he does jump into it, and right here he'll start casting it. So with this phase, he throws 3 fire orbs at you 2 times, so you'll have to block them and send them back to him right there with perfect. It doesn't matter if you get good or perfect, you're gonna get both phases no matter what, guys. And it's unfortunate because even if you get the bar full after this next fireball, you still have to do this whole phase no matter what. So it does suck. They do force you to do this the whole way through, and it does waste quite a bit of time. So right here, just keep basic attacking to get your MP up. As soon as he pops, same rotation, Reagi, Gale Wind, Phantom Strike again. And again, you guys can see I messed up rotation. This was pretty late at night. It's kind of sucked, but we still got the job done. So there you guys go. Next phase, he's going to do, I believe, 30%. He will jump into the background again, and you will have multiple rocks where he does Flame Breath. The main thing to note here is if you're using Power Surge with Flame Breath active, you cannot get hit or you will lose your full HP and your effect will disappear. Okay, so I believe that happens to me at some point, and you're going to need to make sure that you have full HP again right here. This is what I'm talking about. You can see stand behind the red shield. So do a quick high speed rotation. Don't get hit by this. If you do, again, your shield will not protect you. It actually bypasses your shield. So standing in here, very important, and just avoid the damage, and then just break 3 of these, and boom, he should be ready to come back. And then again, just rinse and repeat the entire fight. It's a very, very easy fight, guys. Again, I keep messing up the rotation. This was the middle of the night, so definitely don't do what I've been doing, but listen to my original explanation of the rotation. But even with that mess up, we were able to get the job done. I brought Myro in last second just to keep the overload in. You guys can see you can bring her in quickly and then do her ultimate and get her right back out, and then bring back Sun Janu in order to do the full amounts of damage. You guys can see we got 37 seconds with 9 seconds left, and I believe we did one more overload phase here to get the job done. And this one was really, really close to the wire, guys. We're talking about like seconds before we completed. There it is, 8 seconds to complete the fight. All right, so there you guys have it. Completion. Again, please don't look at the rotation. The rotation was way off. Again, the rotation is overload into Phantom Strike instantly, into Soma and Ashura, hold it down, into a core, into Thunderstorm, 3 high-speed rotations, back into Soma and Ashura, and then your ultimate. Okay, that will make it way better, and you will do way more damage that way. All right, let's go into the last fight and finish it up. All right, guys, last fight that we need to talk about, and of course, there's a hunter mode version as well too, so I'll go over that one. So I have to drop my kid off to school. So let's talk about this. So the Legia fight's a little bit different. So here's what you need in terms of stats. So for SJW, your crit can be roughly about I put mine around 17k, 220% crit damage. Still at the 50% mark, of course, for defense pen, so 52k, and then damage increase we're at 30, and the attack in this case is 121. Okay, so nothing really changed. The only real change from the second fight to this fight is now we added free rin, and so the reason why we add free rin is for the shield purposes. We try to keep power surge up at 100%, so that way we don't have any HP loss, and the shields are always there. You don't need free rin. You can use Suyun as well too if you have her, or you can use Jenna if you want, or you can use like Min. There are a couple different options here, but this fight is no different than the original fight that we have in the beginning. Okay, now in this case I did have blessings as well too. The blessings I chose were 2 defense down, 1 damage increase on both, so 5% damage, or this one I think was 15% damage increase, this one was 5% damage increase, and then these 2 here are defense downs. So those are the blessings that I went with, guys. So there are blessings in fact in this. So the usual fight, he jumps in. So the biggest part here that we have problems with is the fact that Riegi's support skill stands in one place, and Legia likes to move quite a bit, so just be very, very careful of that. Okay, so start off with the usual process. Summon your Reagi, get your Moonlight Gale in, and then get your Phantom Strike, and then when Phantom Strike connects, and then you have your overload, right away cast the second Phantom Strike in. You guys can see I already casted it again. Then you do the proper rotation. We already talked about this. Hold Soma and Shura down until they're completed right here, and then you do the core attack, right? And then when your core attack's done, Thunderstorm into 3 high-speed rotations, 1, 2, 3, and then you can see here I'm doing the proper rotation. Okay, so a couple of things to note here. You guys can see that shield pretty much doesn't go down, and then of course jump into your ultimate. So the rotation for SJW doesn't change at all. You pretty much keep it the same. So the main things to note here, okay, number 1, avoid doing any form of attack when he's charging up his attack punch. Oh, you'll notice it, he'll stand still, he's like winding up, and then when it goes red, if you're casting a skill when he's red, and he's about to cast his punch, anything that you do, doesn't matter what the animation is, except for Thunderstorm, surprisingly, it'll cancel out. Okay, so you don't want to lose that cancel. Another thing to note here as well too is that the phases are a little bit different here than the second boss. Obviously, there's the punch I'm talking about right here. Well, you'll see when it goes red right there, look, you get pushed back. Any skills that you do will get canceled, so just do basic attacks at that point to build your MP back with that Asura, right? All right, so at 75%, you're going to get into the second phase. Second phase, you don't want to, these phases are long, right? So you don't want to waste your time. Just get them to 75% as fast as you, right there. You guys can see we're a little bit lower even. We might be at 60-something%. I beat this boss like 5 times, and every time I messed up, it was at the end, and I'll talk more about that. Here's the next phase. Okay, so this phase is pretty straightforward. There's a triangle of what you'll see is like giant orbs. Jump into those, you become an orb yourself, and then it'll automatically drop. Try to drop around the next section of where the next orb is. Right there, you guys can see there's a second orb, and then I go right behind them so I can get to the other orb quicker right there, so that way I'm not wasting time. And then try to dash them, right? Okay, and here when you drop it, same rotation again. Summon your shadows, Reagi, Moonlight Gale, same combo. So nothing really changes here, guys. Okay, everything remains the same. When he hits 50%, he goes into the second phase where he'll become giant, and then even bigger than he is, and then you start pounding the ground. He goes left, right, and then he does double pound. So you want to stay on the left side on that double pound at 50%, and then when he comes back, you want to summon your shadows right away and shadow step right behind him, and then get him into overload as soon as you can so you don't waste time. Okay, very, very straightforward fight, guys, and I'll show you guys right here what I'm talking about. Here we're getting him to 51%, right? We're gonna get him to, after this overload right here, we'll get him to the 50. Try to do as much damage as you possibly can before he goes. There he is, and then again, screen goes blue. And then you get, like I was saying to you, goes to the left, you go to the right, it goes to the right, you go to the left, and then repeat again one more time. And then on the second last part here, you'll stay on the left, and then just go close to his foot right there. Okay, and then you can go right, see how I summon my shadows, and my shadow step is up, boom, right there, and then into your overload. Don't worry if he jumps in the air, you can still get overload in. This part's important. If you mess this part up, there's a second part of this fight in this, after this move right here, he'll jump forward. If you summon Reagi when he jumps forward, Reagi will miss his overload, which happened to me numerous times, and you'll have to restart the whole fight because you won't have enough time to finish it. Okay, so next phase, you're going to get to 25%. Nothing changes here, guys, by the way. Everything remains the same. This is probably the most important phase to be careful of. These giant things on the ground will kill you if you stand in them, so just be careful. So 25%, he'll go into the chain phase. So this is the one that takes the longest because you're going to need to avoid some chains. You guys can see here I'm doing as much damage as I can. 58 seconds left. I think we finished this with like 0.04 seconds. Something great, ridiculous. Anyways, here's the next phase. So this is important. Run to the chain. You don't have to do anything. Just run towards you. Grab one, put it on him, go to the next one. Avoid these red dots all over the floor. You can dodge through them, but if you can just avoid them, that's even better. Boom, 3 chains connected. And then right here, you just complete the last part. Overload again into the next part, which will be you need 2 more overloads essentially, right? So you're going to do this one here, make sure the rotation is good. You should get them to 10% or so, and at 10% the next one will actually finish them off, and that's Bob's your uncle at that point. You've completed it. Congratulations, you're top 1000. Just keep in mind, you don't actually need to finish the hunter mode to get top 1000. This is all you need to get done. You guys can see how close we're getting. We're at 20 seconds. I need that timer to hurry up, and it actually does end up working. This was right down to the wire, and I will talk more about WOBL and my thoughts on it for free-to-play players and everything in a separate video, probably after this one, so we can discuss it. But you guys can see here, we are almost done. I think Thunderstorm actually finishes the job for me. Thank God for Thunderstorm, and now how hard it hits, but there it is, 0.44 seconds to complete. There you guys have it. That is the SJW fight in a nutshell. You complete it. Congratulations, you finished top 1000, and that completes you getting all the things that you need to get. All right, so there's that one. Let's go into the hunter one. All right, guys, for the hunter fight for Liu and the squad, we use the fire team again. This time Liu has 121,000. We got 16k crit. We got 208% critical hit damage. You don't need this much defense pen, 46. You only need about 32 to 35% crit defense pen, but I have 46 anyways, and then 24% for that. Now this fight here, honestly, is no different than the last fight. So we again have the poison set, make sure that stays the same. And in regards to like everything else that goes here, you guys can see I did do a little bit of a change here. I believe I increased his attack in total just because I had to mess around with it, because I think he only had 95k attack. Yeah, there we go, 95k attack. So you want to be at 95k attack for this fight. I was at 91 and I wasn't able to finish it on time. I had like maybe 6% HP left for 3 or 4 attempts, but the fight is no different here. I just want to show you the stats. So this fight here essentially is the same thing. The main thing to note is Gina will get one shot if you're not careful, especially at the last phases. So here's the same thing. You do the same thing as you did the first fight, right? You get Gina's buffs in, so you do the first skill core, second skill hold down, get your Christopher Reed in, get him up there as soon as possible, and then get Liu in there, of course, and then do the proper rotations, get your ults in, and then make sure that you can constantly burst. Never miss a burst. Bursts are super important. And yes, the Surtur set is better for bursting, but overall damage, the poison set does better. So here you want to get him to roughly about 90% would be fine, but you guys can see we get him to 85%, which is more than enough to get the job done. So as long as you can keep up this momentum, the rest is easy. It really is. This fight's a joke when it comes down to hunter mode. I messed up a few times because I didn't have enough attack, but that's where the key element comes from, is Liu's attack needs to be roughly about 95k, or else you're not going to really have much of a chance. So try to get him there. Right here, you guys can see he's doing that punch that I talked about, right? Avoid doing any skills that'll get canceled. Hunters is not as bad because you can actually cancel your skills out and still have what you need. But here, the name of the game is do as much damage during the burst phase, or the overload phase, and then do as much of that burst damage out there as you can. You guys can see 4 million-ish burst is what you want. There's a 4 billion. I didn't see it was maybe a billion, 4 billion, but you want to keep doing this. Okay, so same phases apply here, guys. Don't halt him when he's doing the phases. Just switch to Gina, get all the stuff out of the way. You guys understand the phases already. There it is. We did the first one, second one, third one. Okay, all the phases are in. Get Gina's ultimate in here, and then after this ultimate's complete, you just do her regular rotation. You guys can see he's got all the buffs and debuffs on, and then jump into Christopher Reed, and then back to Liu, and you continue the same steps over and over and over again. Again, the biggest part of this fight that is a problem really comes down to, I did this live, by the way, so you can check the whole live out and I'll see all the struggles. This phase is where I died right after this phase. Gina gets one shot here if you're not careful. Right here, after this jump, he does the orbs on the ground right there. For some reason, I kept getting hit by Gina. So I just, this time around, what I did is I just got rid of all of her buffs quickly, and then I jumped into using Christopher Reed because he has a massive shield and you don't have to really worry about these parts killing him, and then I went into Liu quickly as possible after the infusion and got it done. Okay, so again, same process as SJW, gets into the next phase, and then you do the chains. This fight, you should have a little bit more time left. Here we go. You guys can see 24%. And here you just, again, try to maximize the amount of damage before the next phase. I try to do my ult here and keep the infusion with Myra up. And then right there, you guys can see with 1 minute left, you should have about a minute left, guys, to really complete this. Okay, it's still really close down to the wire kind of scenario, but you see 18%. And now we're at 17, 16, 15, etc. 5, 4, 3, and I got 15 seconds left, right? You guys can see right there, 4 seconds completion. There it is. So same fight, just different rotations. Really nothing changes from the rotation perspective from the first fight. You just got to make sure Liu has a little bit different stats. That's the main thing. All right, guys, there you guys have it. Completion of hard mode WOBL. We're done, top 1000. I know this is going to be a lot for a lot of free-to-play players to bear, but I'm going to talk more about that in a separate video so we can get that one out of the way as well too. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.